Hey everyone, this is Jarrett from Living in Cary. In this video, we're going to go over the cost of living in Apex and see if it is still affordable to live in. So, let's get at it. So first, we're going to start with a little macro overview of North Carolina. So as you can see in this infograph, North Carolina has a net increase in adjusted gross income and also population. So this tells us that North Carolina is a growing state. So as we can see, they just have under 43 billion in AGI increase. So money is coming in as well as people. So we can see that just under 840,000 people are coming into North Carolina, and you can also see where they're coming from and where they're leaving. And the majority of them are coming from the East Coast and predominantly the Northeast. Now we're going to break it down to county, Wake County, which is where Apex is. So when we narrow it down to Wake County, we see that over $7 billion in AGI have come in. And from a population point of view, over 171,000 people have moved in. Important to note that this data spans from 1992 to 2019. Next up, we're getting down to the brass tacks, aka taxes. Everyone's favorite. So currently in North Carolina, there is a statewide sales tax of 6.98%. Also important to note that there is a Wake County tax as well on top of that, so it'll round out to a nice 7.25%. Another one of the great things about the area are the property taxes. If you have a $450,000 home, you are going to be paying just under $4,500 annually in taxes. So what's better than that? If you're thinking about moving to Apex or the surrounding area, all you have to do is shoot us a call, text, or email. We have a real estate team ready to help you relocate to Apex and call North Carolina home. So now we're going to talk about some of the taxes on specific items. So first off, we have clothing, which is 4.75%. Next, we have groceries, which is 2%. After that, we have prepared foods, which come in at 9%. Prescription drugs are exempt, and over-the-counter drugs are also 4.75%. And certainly, last but not least, we have the North Carolina state income tax. So this might be beneficial or a hindrance depending on where you're coming from and your income level, but North Carolina is a flat tax rate of 5.25%. So if you make a lot of money and you're coming from a state with a higher tax bracket based on your income, you will be taxed less. If you make less money and you benefit from a lower tax bracket depending on where you live, it might increase if you come to North Carolina. So just something to be aware of. Now we are going to dive in a little cost of living index chart. So everything is on a scale of 100, or to a scale of 100, I should say. So anything over 100 would be more expensive than the national average, and anything under 100 will be cheaper than the national average. So let's dive into this. So overall, we see that Apex comes in at a 113, which is slightly higher than the national average, and it is also higher than the North Carolina average, which is 90. So why this is because Apex is a sought-after area due to its vicinity to Research Triangle Park and the cities such as Raleigh and Durham. So because it's in close vicinity to all these places, especially the jobs in RTP, which is the hub for a lot of tech jobs and very reputable companies. Since it's close, you're going to pay a premium to be closer to those destinations. So we see that groceries in Apex is also slightly higher than the national average, but this will also depend on where you like to do your food shopping. So if you decide to do your food shopping at Lidl or Food Lion, you are going to be spending less money than if you were to go to Whole Foods or Fresh Market, which was ranked the best supermarket in America. So awesome that that's home to North Carolina. So health and all the associated costs with it are slightly cheaper than the national average, so +1 there. Now we're gonna take you through a couple of health and healthcare associated costs and about the range that you can find in Apex. So a doctor's visit is just going to be under $114. A dentist visit, just under $100. An optometrist visit, just over $105. Prescription drugs coming in at $453. And a vet visit, which is just under $55. And now we are going to dive into housing, which is probably the reason why you clicked on this video. So we see that housing in Apex is a 152, which is it's a good number higher than the national average. And again, we're going off of what I mentioned earlier about its location, but this will also, play a role into the factor of what has happened over the last 2 years, and it's a growing area. So Apex has a lot of new construction now, which helps drive the price up because materials were very high and are still elevated on where they were. So let's dive into the numbers. So in this interactive chart, we can see how the median cost of a home in Apex has risen. So in January of 2018, you can see that it's just over $350,000. Now, as we continue to go up, 1 year later, it has risen to $372,000. So 1 year later, it has risen to $385,000, which isn't too drastic of an increase, but as you can see the trend, it is still going up. Now you can see 1 year later, after everything happened and people started moving out of densely populated areas, wanted to relocate, etc., Apex needed to keep up with the demand. New homes, new construction, lumber cost, that with demand drove the prices up even more. So now we're up over $400,000. And you can see how this trend has continued. And as of August 2021, we are looking at $438,000. Yes, housing costs have risen significantly. You probably will not only find that in Apex, but you will find that in other areas as well that are popular and high demand, and also are dealing with a lot of new construction. So hopefully soon we will see these prices start to creep back down, but this is why housing costs in Apex come in at a 150, higher than the national average. So let's circle back to that cost index. So just ignore that median home cost number. That number does not actually reflect the current median. That data in and of itself is a little dated. So next up, we're moving on to utilities. You can see that it is slightly cheaper than the national average. Transportation costs as well are cheaper than the national average. And miscellaneous, so anything that's, that we haven't covered or wouldn't fit into one of the categories we discussed, slightly cheaper than the national average as well. If you're finding this video helpful, give us a big old thumbs up and hit that like button. We're going to talk about the rental market real quick in Apex if living in a home is not your thing, or you simply just want to rent before you think about moving to Apex. So the average rental in Apex is going to be just over $1,400 a month, and the average apartment size is just over 1,000 square feet. So that gives you an idea of about what you can expect from apartments in Apex, and the vast majority, about 61%, are in that $1,000 to $1,500 range. So that is what you'll find in Apex rental-wise. So that wraps up the video. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.